Cocoa Critics. Let's discuss Devil Wears Prada 2. I mean, look, this, I have been waiting for the Devil Wears Prada 2 to come out. Like, bated breath, hope I don't get hit by a bus level anticipation. Because, like, who takes 20 years to put a movie out, a sequel? Who? Who? But you know what? It's been out, and I have all the notes in front of me because a girl saw the movie, she got verklempt, she got all in her feelings. By the way, I'm Charlene. I mean, if y'all knew that, your Hot Cocoa Critic host, creator, all around, uh, you know, tour de force into cinema and any and everything you don't have time to watch, right? You want to make time for The Devil Wears Prada 2. It's just a good time. Look, it's only been out a couple weeks and it's already grossed $146.8 million in the box office. It takes a lot for me to go to the box office, to the movie theater, to the cinema, to the theater, to the theater, to the movies, to the movies. It takes a lot for me to go to the movies. Yeah, I consider myself a movie critic. Sure. I've watched a lot. I've watched a lot of movies, and especially in the last couple months, because The Devil Wears Prada release was so well timed because it came out the weekend before the Met Gala. So like if you are a fashion girly, which I am, hello Hoot Cuckoo Critics is really how it's pronounced. But hell, I'm in Texas, so we're gonna say hot, hot, hot. And if you know, you know. Um, Fashion is a big part of what we do here and what I'm interested in as it pertains to the fashion, costume design, the story. A lot of stories are told through fashion, especially with the evolution of a character, changing a character, even to paint the scene of like where they are. Like, of course, Devil Wears Prada this year or this particular sequel takes place in Milan. The original, they like that's where the big finale was. The original was in Paris, and that was where the whole plot came to a climax was in Paris. So, look, fashion is a very, very big deal when it pertains to my podcast, comedy, fashion, movies, all levels of sidebars, of course. But also as it pertains to um the Devil Wears Prada 2, look, whoever thought to drop that movie literally the weekend before the Met Gala, chef's kiss. And I hate, let me tell you, chef, chef's kiss is overused. I feel like chef's kiss is the most overused gesture of an ultimate compliment in ever and ever times. But chef's kiss because it was amazing. Now look, there are going to be spoilers in this podcast. So I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to give you a hot 10 minutes of just fodder and background. And after that, if I geek out, I geek out. If I go off, I go off. Did I shed a tear during this film? Maybe. I was so, first of all, I have a couple rules. And this is something, you know what? Hot Cocoa Critics exclusive. Even though I'm a movie buff, and even though not only am I a movie buff, but I'm like a rom-com fan. That's like at the root of what I love. I love rom-coms. I prefer black love stories, but a good story is a good story. Okay. I have a very personal rule that I'm going to share. I've been doing this podcast now 4 years. Why not? Let me peel back a layer for you, the viewer, okay? And please comment if you have like a movie confession. Please put in the comments, participate. Why not? Um, I have a personal rule where I prefer not to go to the movies opening night, opening weekend. It's just shoulder to shoulder. You're just like next to like this. My office chair might be the size of a movie chair, a little bigger. You're just well now they have like the recliner, the what is that the XO experience, the Extreme or whatever. It's Cinemark, fine. But you're just it's better than an airplane seat, but it's not, and I just don't want to be shoulder to shoulder. I don't want to be all up on the person next to me. I think that's fair. It's a fair concern to have. So I like to usually wait for like the fuss to die down. Now, here's where it becomes complicated. If that is something you're not into, just because maybe you're a bit of a germaphobe, or it's like your room, move, get out the way, get out the way, get out the way. If you're ludicrous about it, if you think it's ludicrous to sit on top of another person, that's not your date, or that you don't want to be your date, or that's on a date, and you just don't. It's not your jam. Look, you're with your people, you're with your tribe. This is a safe space. So feel free to put in the comments like what would we call it? Like your movie phobia or your movie superstition, huh? Movie practice is. I'd love to hear. Because I also don't wear shorts to the movies. Oprah did this thing like when her Oprah show was out. So you do the math on how long ago that was. On this show, we don't do any math. I'm not mathing for anybody. Like I know. Mhm. Um, and she went like there was this guy, she had like this scientist guy, or maybe he was a forensic investigator. It doesn't matter, okay? He had a black light. That's all you need to know. And like a night view lens and like a microscope or something. And they were looking at like the germiest places. Now we could have used this a few years ago, but nonetheless, this was at least 20 years ago when they did this and went through the movie theater. They said the movie theater and airplane seats are some of the dirtiest places you can visit or be and occupy. And so they went to the movie theater with this black light. My life will never be the same. I was a youth and I watched this episode. They went through this movie theater with this black light and then like took samples. I know. I'm really trying not to use word like scrape. I'm really trying to say not say words that'll gross you out, like scrape or moist or any of those words. But they collected. hmm, collected samples of just what seemed like air and put it in a petri dish, took it to the lab, and what they found on the seats of movie theater chairs, and this was back in the day, y'all, when movie theater chairs were for you youngins. This, by the way, this is an adult uh podcast. Like, there's not gonna be adult visual content. Like this sweater, it's a crop sweater. That's about as exciting as it gets. But yeah, this is if you're 18 and under, you shouldn't even be watching this. You shouldn't even your attention span can't even handle this show. So move along. Move along, scoot along, kiddo. Scram, skedaddle. Um, yeah. So they took it to the lab, and what they found was fecal matter, semen, more fecal matter, lots of fecal matter. And if you don't know what fecal matter is, Google it. There's a word that's often used that has the FEC in the beginning for human poop. Here we go. That's at it. Saved you a Google. Poop. Poop remnants, poop dust. Whoa. Let's elevate. Let's go back. Let's go back up. How am I kicking off the Devil Wears Prada 2 episode with such lowbrow humor? Let's back it up, shall we? So, hence why I don't wear shorts to the theater. Now, so now you got two things out of me, right? One, I don't like to go opening weekend, and two, I don't wear shorts. Well, for this movie, I still didn't wear shorts, but I did go opening weekend. Yay, growth and progress, because I knew it was going to be worth it. It was so worth it. First of all, you got Meryl Streep. Second of all, you have Anne Hathaway. Third of all, you got Stanley Tucci. Stanley Tucci. Chef's kiss. Like he should just be the ambassador of Italy. I think he has like a YouTube show. Like I don't know if it's like a dine around Italy. I'm not gonna pretend to know. I don't know. I haven't watched it. It's on my list. It's in my stuff, but I haven't like actually watched it. Anyway, so I went, I wore a sweatsuit, and I got there like right in the nick of time because I didn't anticipate. I got there and I was hungry. Don't you hate that? I got there and I was hungry, and they had like at the Cinemark, they had like a hot food area and then they had like a snack area. They got rid of the bar. Who do I talk to about that? I envision just watching the movie with like, I don't know, a martini. But no, it was me and a big old bottle of smart water. And you know what? Good. Because I needed to be alert. My eyeballs were fixed to the screen. And I was laughing. And here's the thing. I was sitting, so okay. I made a big deal about sitting arm to arm, shoulder to shoulder. I had a very pleasant experience. The person to my right, it was a mother and a daughter, or maybe an auntie and a niece. But it was that kind of an age gap. They had something in the cup holder. The man next to me and his wife had something in the cup holder. And I was like, hey, y'all know. Because I wasn't able to get an end seat. I was like, y'all know at the 7 p.m. primetime showing that there's going to be somebody coming to sit betwixt y'all. So, first of all, I didn't have to have a I wish you would situation. Nobody was sitting in my seat, but they did take over both cup holders. I walked up, nose in the air, with my favorite Miranda Priestley quote in my head that you might hear me say multiple times. Why is no one ready? In the darkest of theaters because it had just started. My food took forever. Long story short, okay, y'all don't care. But I blew past all the previews. I don't know what's coming out. The guy next to me moved his thing, his peanut M&Ms out the cup holder. The girl to the right of me moved her big gulp of Coca-Cola out the cup holder. And I was like, oh, look at this. Human decency. I had all the cup holder choices. Anyway, so I got cozy. I did not recline. This is what, okay, third thing. I'm like in a sharing mood tonight. I don't know. Third thing though, maybe if I had gotten there before everybody else and I had reclined because I had like the reclining seats, I would have felt okay. But it just felt kind of like I was in bed with everybody else because everybody on the row had reclined their movie seat. And I was just like, I don't know you guys. Like, yes, you shared your cup holders with me, and for that, I salute you. But is it just me? Also comment. Like, is it just me or like I don't like the idea that we're all reclined together. We don't whose living room is this? Anyway, back let's get to the movie, shall we? Devil Wears Prada 2 for the win. For the win. You know what? I'm not gonna be usually I do like a deep dive into the background of movie and like who no. This is gonna be like a fan reaction exclusive review. This is not going to have any educational value whatsoever when it comes to like the background of this film. Because that just wasn't the vibe of the film. But there is a theme, and I will talk about that in a second. Let's go back to what I was talking about, Sex and the City. Boom. So the Sex and the City era, first, as we all know, Sex and the City came out on HBO. And it was like all the things, like pop culture, lots of cameos. If you go back and watch Sex and the City now, you'll see like a bunch of actors in there that are now very famous now. And you're like, oh goodness gracious, like, I mean, this is not a good example, but like Blair Underwood was in there. Blair Underwood was already a thing to us, okay? But he dated Miranda of all people. Let me not go down that rabbit hole. But Sex and the City was a fan favorite on HBO. Had many seasons. It was so popular they decided to do a movie. So they did Sex and the City, and it was like one of those movies where it sold out box office week after week after week after week after week after week. And it was a good movie for what the franchise is. Okay. You had Jennifer Hudson in there. You had obviously like she had played a nice supporting role next to the main players, you know, your Sarah Jessica Parkers and your Kim Cattralls and so on and so forth. Well, then they were like, we're just gonna do a Sex in the City too. And we were like, yes, we demand it because it ended on like this kind of cliffhanger with Big and Carrie. And we were like, well, we gotta see the wedding. I personally own Sex in the City too, because I made a boyfriend buy it for me for my birthday years ago on DVD. After I saw it in the theater with my girlfriends, we went for a girls' night out and had Cosmopolitans. This is not a Cosmopolitan, it's like a pineapple martini, whatever. Pineapple lemon girl, whatever. But none of us want to talk about it. We don't talk about it outside of our own sister circles. But again, tonight I guess I'm feeling like I'm in a confessional type mood. It was hot garbage. Even with Liza Minnelli appearing in the first 15 minutes of the film, it was hot, steaming garbage. The fashions were a hazard to the environment. They smelled. There were some good moments, but it was just like it was basically camp. It became very, very camp. So I think the unspoken thing where we were all coming into this movie with bated breath is, girl, we survived Sex in the City. Uh, Police tell me that this is going to be not that. Because you could keep a Sex in the City 2 trauma. We don't need that. We don't need to go back through that anymore. That was that was difficult for a lot of us. Some of us went back and watched it again to make sure it wasn't as bad as we thought. Maybe we thought something different. Okay? I am woman, hear me roar. Don't get me started. Devil Wears Prada 2, not that. Now, there's been mixed reviews. There have been some that have been like, oh, it was awful. I don't know what you came for, but first of all, you should have watched The Devil Wears Prada 1 before you even stepped your big foot into the theater. Before you stepped your 11, your 12B in the theater, your long narrow foot, you should have refreshed your memory for The Devil Wears Prada 2 so that it was like seamless. I watched The Devil Wears Prada 1 and walked right into the theater. I was like, doo doo, turned it off the TV, and then beep, beep, bop. I was in the theater. Like I never left. Okay. So you have Meryl Streep playing Miranda, who is like loosely based off of Anna Wintour. Okay. She's the editor of and Anna Wintour, we all know is like the chief editor of Vogue. Okay. So this is loosely based off of that. And if we remember, you have Anne, let me get through the cast real quick. Bear with me, humor me. Go top off your drink if you already know who this cast is, okay? But you have Anne Hathaway is Andy. Emily Blunt is Emily. This is when we found out that Emily Blunt really had a British accent in real life, like because we'd seen her in other things and she usually leans into her American accent or she can do a really good American accent, but she was one of the ones that for some of us were like, "Oh, you're British, but you can do an American accent." Anyway, that was still not even an American accent, and I'm an American. Stanley Tucci as Nigel, the assistant to Miranda, the right-hand man. And then there's the supporting cast. You got Kenneth Branagh, Justin Theroux. Justin Theroux's character actually is an integral part of the plot. Lucy Liu also. We Lucy Liu, man. Lucy Liu, fan favorite. The best friend Tracy Toms, Lily, she returns. Remember, Tracy was the one whenever Andy would go to work and Miranda didn't want something, she would give her like the free purses and the girl was getting like free Valentino and free Chloe and free all the stuff. But yeah, so BJ Novak, Patrick Bramal plays the love interest of Andy. So There's your spoiler, womp womp. She does actually have a love interest, but it's not who you think it's gonna be. Oh my gosh, Simone Ashley. Simone Ashley was in a rom-com that I watched. Dang, I think it's called like Picture Perfect or anyway. That I watched and I really liked it. And picture this. She was in a rom-com on Prime called Picture This. That's when I first saw her ever. She's been in a lot of other projects. Um, Drop dead gorgeous woman. Young up and coming actress, drop dead gorgeous. So she plays the first assistant to Miranda. She's just face card in fashion and just like, you know what? She's the old Emily. She's basically the old Emily. But the cast is diverse. I will say the cast is diverse. Um, when I say diverse, I mean, yeah, there's African Americans in there, there's Asians, there's a ton of cameos. Like Law Roach makes an appearance, Paige DeSorbo, if you're into any sort of like reality TV. She's like a fashion influencer now by way of reality TV. Um, you Michael Kors makes an appearance. Sierra's in there. They make the way that they zoom in on Sierra on a red carpet, they're like, you know, you see her, you see her, you see her, you see her. Hey, by the way, you see Sierra, Sierra's in this, you see Sierra, 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 Sierra. Like the cameos are just non-stop. I may actually even add a list of like the cameos because it was in actual sanity. But so the plot takes place literally 20 years later. It's not like while it's being released 20 years later, we are sitting through some sort of a, you know, outdated whatever. No, it is literally 20 years later. And here's the thing. There was also a red carpet event for like the movie premiere. It was terrible. It almost made me not want to go see the movie The Red Carpet. It was so terrible for the movie premiere, but then I had to just say to myself, "Self, that's for a movie premiere. Chill out." Um, but the fashions, it immediately starts with that same open shot of the morning and the girls rushing to work. But now Andy is like this accomplished journalist and she's winning some journalism award. And if y'all remember, like in the first Devil Wears Prada, the theme or the underlying theme of the movie was the newspaper industry was slowly kind of becoming obsolete, and Andy was a recent graduate of Northwestern, and I think is that Chicago, yeah. And literally she can't get a job in print in newspaper, so she takes this job at this fashion magazine. And Andy prides herself on being like an intellectual, a brainiac. She's got this boyfriend who is slugging it out in culinary school. They're making it and grinding on their own in a crappy New York apartment, and she's got great friends. And she scores this job at Runway magazine, and they're like, "Oh my God, Runway!" And she's like, "Was that even a thing? I don't under like what is it even?" And we all know about like how Andy gets her ass handed to her wearing a cerulean sweater one day when she decides to finally pipe up and make any sort of a noise in front of Miranda Priestley. We all know that she's like Miranda Priestley's like the quintessential ball busting, like female CEO type stereotype, right? And that really she is supposedly modeled after like an Anna Wintour, a New York fashion editor. And Miranda does things like her signature throwing her coat every day when she walks in. They like another favorite quote from the movie that everybody knows is "Guard your loins." Like whenever like they figure out that, oh my God, Amanda's on the way, Miranda Priestley's on the way. Stanley Tucci's character's like "Guard your loins," and then everybody's like, "Oh God," and they're like putting up their coffee and turning off their computers and getting to work and looking real busy and real official and like, oh yeah, we're so busy and we're so perfect and everything looks good. And we all know that throughout the course of the first movie, Andy kind of gets her footing in this assistant job, and Miranda throws all sorts of crazy things at her. And along the way, it's a coming of age. Here's the thing: we all know Anne Hathaway had this whole part in her career before Les Miserables, I feel like, where she all she did was makeover films. Like she was always a coming of age, a oh ugly duckling plain Jane into a swan. The Princess Diaries was how we all met Anne Hathaway officially. I wouldn't know if that's her first film series or not. I just know that that's how we know Anne Hathaway for real, for real. So then when she appears in Devil Wears Prada, we all accepted that her with all these frumpy layers and long hair and long bangs and stuff, that she's gonna get a makeover. Like we're all waiting on the makeover moment. And Emily, played by Emily Blunt, was already like made over, done up, British, snarky, like, you're wearing that. And you're in the bathroom, you can't leave your desk. Like she was just very no nonsense. Girl, just stay out of my way, stay out of everybody's way, but also do your job. And also don't be an eyesore. And Stanley Tucci's character kind of, did the whole like um stereotypical, lovable and amazing, but stereotypical like gay fashion godfather of like, hey, I'm gonna take you under my wing and I'm gonna like microdose you with good fashion and get you off that corn chowder in the cafeteria, girl. Um, and then, you know, we're off to the races. And then what happens is like Stanley Tucci's character gets passed over for what is supposed to be some big promotion. And Amanda Priestley's supposed to move up the ladder, and it's this whole like train of progression in their careers. And Andy has the opportunity. She becomes like the first assistant to Miranda. And she gets the opportunity to go to Paris because Emily Blunt gets really, really sick, and Amanda doesn't. Miranda, why I keep saying Amanda? Miranda Priestley doesn't do sick, so Emily's forced to stay home because she has plague. Direct quote, has a plague, and from Miranda, and then that allows Andy a chance to go. Okay, so I can't believe I went through that. Why did I do that to you? Because you want to know about the sequel, not the other stuff. So in the sequel, where it picks up is the theme is journalism is dying in general. And so as Andy and her team are receiving this huge award for like hard-hitting journalism about war-torn countries and like disparity, global disparities or whatever, they all find out in real time while they're at the ceremony they're getting fired. They're being let go. Their company's folding or whatever. Miranda Priestley is having some sort of a PR nightmare where essentially like she's somehow inadvertently involved in some like clothing production distasteful activity. I think it's like a sweatshop involved or something. So it looks really bad for the brand for Runway. And along the way, what ends up happening in this film is that you find out how everybody's doing what they've been up to without like the whole, here's the download, here's what we've all been doing. It's like I love it's beautifully weaved in. And so you find out that Andy and her boyfriend from the first film are not a thing. They did not make it. And look, it doesn't age well. Like in the first film, you see that the boyfriend, she wasn't going to be able to grow with him. He was too invested in like who she was. And even though she kind of stepped into her own, he didn't like it. He didn't like we all get to a point where we are learning ourselves, and maybe it is through fashion that we discover ourselves and treat ourselves to a little designer this or designer that. And he was like not into any of that. And Andy wasn't exactly either, but Andy did like who she was becoming to a degree, but didn't want to sell her soul for it. And we can all agree, hey girl, good choice, whatever. And her and Miranda end on a sour note, if you remember, because Miranda thought that she was gonna just like be her ingenue, and Andy was like, "Nah, peace, I'm out. I've seen enough. I'm good. Let me get out while the getting is good." Well, now it's the other way around. Like now, Andy has the opportunity to come and like rebrand Miranda and help maybe save her image because she's working on like a global promotion. And so all of that to say, that's kind of the plot. Okay. It's really well done. You do see Andy kind of slip back into those old roles, which I think is really important because sometimes no matter how much we've grown, we can also find ourselves like slipping into these roles that we've completely evolved from based on scenario and the person involved. It happens all the time. Like, have you ever been around somebody and they're like your badass friend? Like they are queen, king, badassery. Get them around their parents and they're 12. And you're like, who the hell is this? Why are you like, yeah, like you're a toddler, like, I can't do anything. I'm a baby. So the same thing happens on this. Like she gets around Miranda and all of a sudden she's flustered and she like, well, she starts off strong, but then she immediately don't know which way is up. And just kind of like collect herself and like step into her boss bitchery. Now, Emily is secretly has a vendetta against Miranda. And this is the other thing I will say. It also tells a story of so you got like what's the future of magazine in the I should probably have said that. Like what's the future of magazine is really the ongoing underlying question throughout the film. Because while Andy's been let go, Miranda Priestley and them are trying to figure out how to keep how to evolve with print media. Because now, as we all know, like Vogue, all the real magazines, like Vogue, Glamour, Cosmo, all that is now digital. Elle is digital. There are paper, obviously, there are paper copies. I mean, come on. You know, I don't need to like tell you that you can go buy a magazine. But we also know that a lot of it takes place we see a lot of it online, via social media or digital publication. So, with that, that's one part of the plot. Then you have this other theme in the plot. It's like, are women in particular who are on the rise in their career, they all had to start somewhere. And usually that begins with the beginning of your career, usually involves an older woman who's more seasoned, maybe even a mentor, definitely a boss, your supervisor, whatever, who was maybe a little too hard on you, or you felt like was trying to bust your bubble. And maybe she did bust your bubble. Maybe she did buff some edges. Is she really a villain, or was she a necessary mentor or influence on you that makes you who you are today? Is that toxic or is it actually healthy and you just it's a growing pain? So little things that Miranda used to do in her world are no longer flying, and we've all seen that too. The person who's been at the same corporation for a really long time or in the same industry a really long time, and they're like, I can't believe I have to be PC about this. I can't believe this is now offensive. It is. So Miranda, the comic relief of it all, because there is a lot of funny moments in this movie, is that oh, Miranda can't just throw her purse and her coat at anybody anymore. And the way that they address that is so hilarious. And actually, Simone Ashley's character, it's kind of like her PC guardian angel, like, you can't, you can't say, I can't say, you can't. But I thought, no. But I went through the training. Yeah, no. Comedy gold. Okay. Comedy gold. The comedic writing in this movie was really, 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 really spot on. And look, for the fans, don't just wander into the Devil Wears Prada saying, well, it looks like Transformers 45 is running about 15 minutes behind schedule, so I guess I'll sit in on. No, don't do that. Don't bring your ass into Devil Wears Prada 2 and expect to be entertained if you don't know, if you did not appreciate the first film. If you didn't even watch the first film, skip it. Also, oh yeah, Emily Blunt's character is now like the head of Dior. So there's a lot of you see a lot of Dior. You see a lot. There's a lot of brand recognition, obviously. It makes you want to go shop, or it makes you want to save your money, or it makes you say this is all dumb and I don't want to spend money on any of it. Can I catch a flight to New York by this afternoon and head on down to Canal Street and see what those knockoffs are hitting like these days? Because look, I got my first Gucci on Canal Street, and it was a damn good knockoff. And the woman couldn't do like we didn't speak the same language. Like she spoke one language, I spoke another. We somehow bartered in a very dark apartment that I had no business in. It's actually a brownstone. It had a bunch of purses hanging up, and it was a purse. It was a nice tote, like this big, like a nice tote wallet, canvas wallet, canvas tote bag with a matching wallet. But of course, it was priced separate. I was trying to haggle with her because the whole thing was going to cost like $100, $150. And I was trying to get her to give me both for 95. I don't know where it got lost in translation, but y'all, I got a very realistic looking Gucci tote with the matching wallet for $85. Or was it $45? It was $45. 45. Let's stick with $45 because that makes the story even better. And I carried that bag for 5, 6 years. Now, only on special occasions. It was not my everyday bag. It was like I'm going to a luncheon. It's the big fancy bag. Okay. Anyway, I digress. So if you want to know what Canal Street is, that's what it is, where you get all the knockoffs. But I think everybody kind of knows that. Anyway, back to the point of the story. So with The Devil Wears Prada 2, what I liked most was there was a lot of like sprinkling ins from the first movie for the fans, like the cerulean sweater makes an appearance. I will not ruin that for you because it is dripped in so subtly, and if you are not paying attention, you will miss it. And if you see it, you will cry. Yes, I cried. I cried the last 10 minutes of the film. I fought tears, maybe 15, because I will say the biggest theme in this film is what does it having it all look like to women? And in every endeavor that you go through in your life, whatever path you choose, you're going to sacrifice something. So Miranda is still married to the husband from the first movie. Because remember, I think she like was going had an ex-husband, had a new husband, and they were going back and forth. You do see the twins. They still have freckles. They have freckles still. Um, Were they nicer? I mean, I just remember they were such brats in the first movie. But Miranda is still very much like married. Uh, but she does address like what she sacrificed to remain at the helm of such a major publication. Andy addresses along the way what she sacrificed in the way of relationships and all that for her career. But she does find love with a guy who can handle her. They're like perfect when it comes to like opposites attracting. Um, but some of Andy's old stuff still is there. And her friend, oh gosh, what's her name? Tom's Lily. There's a character name. Lily actually plays an important role, kind of helping her get it together, helping her tie up her personal loose ends. Stanley Tucci's character gets more of a plot. He does, which has been addressed a lot in film. Like, don't just prop up the gay bestie, the gay right-hand man, and not give him a bit more layers. And I think a lot can also be said for like the funny black best friend. Like, there's a lot of movies where it's like, girl, and that's all she is like the girl, girl. It's like, well, what about her friend? What about, you're allowed to have a main character. That's the point of a plot. But and storytelling. There has to be a focal point. But also, let's not just prop people up as caricatures and random accessories, right? Um, because people like to see themselves and in art that they venture to see. So, and also what sacrifices has Stanley's character made? Why am I not? I refuse to jump off this page because there's a little list I want to go through. But you know who Stanley Tucci is, who his character is. And then well, there's just a lot of funny, I mean, there's references to the old film, but there's a lot of new stuff in there. They have a very cool trip to the Hamptons. They do end up in Milan, like I said, hence my cashmere Milan sweater. Um Lake Como. Did I know Lake Como was beautiful? Yes. And Justin Theroux plays Emily Blunt's soon to be new husband and Lucy Liu's ex-husband. He's a tech billionaire and he plays a big role in the film, but he's hilarious. That whole plot of Emily and Lucy Liu and him is hilarious. And Lucy Liu is like, she ends up being a hero. I'm just gonna put it like that. She ends up being a hero. You almost don't see the plot. There's a plot twist. There's a couple at the end, but you almost don't see them coming. At least I didn't because I was so wrapped up. I was just in the film. Like I was very invested in the imagery and the storytelling and the Meryl Streep of it all. The Meryl Streep of it all. The Meryl Streep of it all. I was just, and Anne Hathaway. I mean, come on. She can be a bit like, teacher's pettish type energy, but It's Anne Hathaway. Come on. I do want them to do another one soon. I think we could take a third and not wait as long. But yeah, so everybody makes sacrifices to get to the top or have what they want or achieve their goals and we learn that there is no like pinnacle goal. There's levels. You take steps. It's a ladder, sometimes a jungle gym of success, right? So all in all, a feel good film. Before I give it a score, I definitely say it's a must see, even just so that you. I think it is actually a film. I think you should see it in the theater. I don't think you should wait for it to come out at home. I would tell you. There's a movie right now. I'm unashamed to wait for it to come out. I will pay my 19.99 and see it in my house. I wanted to see it in the theater, but the previews look so terrible. I was like, I can't be moved. And it's bad because it goes absolutely with the brand of this show, the intent of this show. But the on-screen chemistry in the previews was so bad. I said, okay. And it kind of fell off my radar. You know what? Let me not make those declarations. If I can squeeze in seeing the movie while it's still in the theater, I will do it. Hold me to it. It's a Tuscan movie with Haley Bailey, Halle Bailey, and Rajay Jean. Hold me to that. The Tuscan winery. If I can get to it in the theater, I will do it. But if it ends up out in only at my home and I don't have the option of going into the theater, then I will watch it at home. But if I can go see it in the theater and support it that way, I will do so. Okay? Okay. Back to the point. So Devil Wears Prada 2, you should definitely go see it in the theater. Again, it got me out and I was glad I went and I scurried on home. I had a great time. And I laughed, I cried, I swooned. I swooned. The fashion was good. The fashion was amazing. Like obviously. So I give the fashion design 5. What would we call it? Like we 5 peppermint hot chocolates. Peppermint hot chocolates is our scoring system that is birthed from the holiday season, which is where we do a lot of reviews of movies. And I say we. I don't have multiple personalities. Sometimes I have a co-host or two on, so that's why I say we. I'm just a we us hour. I've been married too long and now I speak an I us we us hour. I say I very rarely. Um. And y'all are a part of this. I mean, again, I expect you to comment and whatever. If you want to come on and rave about the Devil Wears Prada, fine. I'm back. I'm actually um gonna have a few more episodes to drop here soon that are focused on a particular topic that starts with an F, ends with an N, and rhymes with ashen. Okay. So before I get to the score, I did tease the cameo list, and I do want to tell y'all like who all because I was like, I mean, literally the cameos make you want. It's such a gimmick, and it works. The cameos and the huge plot twists at the end make you want to go back and see the movie again, like immediately after, if you're a fan of the story. Okay, so in that order, Donatella Versace, Lady Gaga. I heard it's like Gaga. It's not Gaga. It's Lady Gaga. Did you know that? Stephanie. Okay. Anyway, Naomi Campbell, because of course. And when you see her, you're like, Naomi, is that you? It's like seeing an old homegirl. I mean, Naomi and old, how dare I? Not in the same sentence. A friend with an established history of friendship. Yeah. Okay. Mark Jacobs, Carl Anthony Towns, who's an NBA player. You can't miss him. Like when they go into the party in the Hamptons, he's like a tree. And he's like standing there like greeting everybody. Well, greeting the main characters. He wasn't a host, he was a guest. Because in the Hamptons, girl, you never know. I mean, like all sorts of lawn decorations. Anyway, in our historical American neighborhoods, wealthy historical American neighborhoods. Lawn decorations. He was not one of those. He was attending the party. Ronnie Chang was there. You know, he's a Daily Show correspondent. He's a comedian. Sierra The Met Gala. By the way, the theme this year for the Met Gala, I usually do like a post and I geek out. I did watch the Met Gala. I did watch the red carpet. I may do like a retrospective review of the Met Gala. I didn't know the theme. The theme was confusing. I had to Google the theme. I couldn't look at the Met Gala and tell what the theme was. The fashions were not fashioning the way I want fashions to fashion, but hey, we were here. Yeah, no. I saw some looks that I liked. I saw some looks. But the theme, I mean, when you follow dandyism, good luck. Like dandyism was so good. Whew. Anyway, so Met Gala scene, Sierra was in there. Milan Fashion Week mid-film. Again, Donatella, they said Marc Jacobs. Oh, Heidi Klum was there. Winnie Harlow, Ashley Graham, Anak Yai. Oh, Anak Yai. She was also at the Met Gala. You want to talk about a face card that never declines? Anak Yai. Um, Amelia Gray. They're all in like runway scenes. And then La Roche, Kara Swisher, Tina Brown, Gio Tolentino. Hmm, not familiar, unfortunately. On deleted scenes, you want some tea? Sydney Sweeney was initially slated for a cameo near the beginning, but the scene was cut, per Variety magazine. Yeah, I remember Sydney Sweeney had a lot of controversy about that American Eagle commercial, the good jeans or whatever. Tisk tisk. However, I did see how the housemaid, and that was really good. Um, that was really, really good. I actually watched it twice. I watched it and then I made my husband watch it with me. Back to the Devil Wears Prada. Prada, House of Milan, House of Prada, House of Mugler, House of Versace, House of Canai. Vogue, Vogue, Vogue. I'm gonna give it fives across the board. Five peppermint hot chocolates. What do we say? Five cappuccinos, since it was in Milan. Yeah, five, whatever. Five Hermes scarves, whatever you wanna. Five Birkin bags. What? It was a good movie. I liked it. I'd see it again. I'm gonna watch it when it comes out on streaming, and that's that for me. Meryl Streep streeped more than has ever streeped. Okay, she looked amazing. Did we get all the volume from the signature? No, but it was good. It was fine. We love it. Anne Hathaway, her fashions were just off the charts. But Simone Ashley's character, they dressed her down. Do you understand? She was, they gave us what we came for. If I have to slow down because I'm wrapping this up. If you don't care about anything they have to say in this movie and you just came for the fashion, oh baby, they give you what you came for. They give you the montage, the fashion montage, because they're at Fashion Week in Milan. So there's a lot of the struts with the oh my God. I Is it too late for me to be an intern at a fashion house? Maybe. Eh, my knees are bad. I don't know. I don't know if I can do all that running and skipping with like a whole bunch of Starbucks in my hand. I need a parking spot, and New York just doesn't offer that. So, with that said, a couple housekeeping items before we strut away. Sachet, you stay. Sorry, RuPaul, please don't sue me. Okay. I have hot cocoa merch. I don't have a lot left. I have to do a reorder soon. Get it while it's hot. This hot cocoa mug is from our holiday collection. And that's okay. And look, you know the theme, because what's in your cup is your business. That's why it's dark on the inside, so that you want to have whiskey in here or actual coffee or coffee with whiskey in it. That's on you. And then also, again, because I love a good rom-com, I love any stories about love. And this, look, Devil Wears Prada 2 has the love story in it. A couple love stories. I have my motel key. Because love can take place anywhere. Hotel, motel, holiday inn. Anyway, with the QR code in the back. Boom. So if you're like, hey, I know this cool girl. Her name is Charlene. She has a podcast. It's called Hot Cocoa Critics, and it's on YouTube. And like, how do you spell all that? Click on the QR code and get over yourself, just for your convenience. So I'm gonna just have a basic Venmo link in my bio on my Instagram, Pop of Color Comedy. That's the production company, as we all know. Pop of Color Comedy Instagram, and I'm gonna put that up so that y'all can just send me the money for it. And then I'll just ship it right to you. And then I'm looking at a different manufacturer for the mugs. And so then once I get that set up, then y'all don't care. I'm the CEO. Y'all are not the CEOs. Y'all are the viewers. You're here for the fun. You're not here for all of the, see, that was a lot of back office talk. We don't need back office talk. But speaking of talk, I also have a TikTok channel, Hot Cocoa Talks, TOC. Please follow me there as well. I do book reviews as well. And Hot Cocoa Reads is yeah, I know, it's a lot of names. I just need things in categories and compartments. Rock with me. Lean with it, rock with it. I just need it in different compartments, okay? So, movie reviews, book reviews, long form podcasting, Hot Cocoa Critics. Your attention span sucks and you just want to see my little smiling face and see me say random things and talk about things that I like and review all sorts of things, not just books, not just movies, but other stuff too, go to my TikTok. Hot Cocoa Talk. Hoot Cocoa Talk. And if you just want to know what the heck I'm up to and you want a guide to get to all the other places I just listed, follow me on Instagram at Pop of Color Comedy. Color spelled COLOUR. More fashion stuff. I think that's it. So, Devil Wears Prada 2 is a must-see, see it in the theaters, and I'm gonna give it 5 Birkin bags. Hi, Coco Critics! I need a second job so I can afford more fashion. Pew, pew, pew! Ciao, Bella.